Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to 15 Good Minutes. It's your guy, Coach B. And as always, I'm here with the A-team. JR, talk to me. How we doing today, man?
Living the dream, buddy. Living the dream. Coming along.
Freddie, what's up, man?
Hey, pretty good. Doing well. Got back from Cleveland the other day. Dropped my nephew
Rock and Roll
off.
Hall of Fame.
Well, yeah. But now dropped my nephew off to play college football at Lake Erie. And got him all set up and squared away. So
Last week, when we went off the air, we were kind of talking about some stuff like we normally do. And we had pretty much teed up that we were going to talk this week about athletes who, retire usually, too late. And then this week, came the announcement that Serena Williams is retiring from tennis. So I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to get some opinions from the team about, what they think about that and talk a little bit about Serena. So I'm going to start with you, JR. What was your first reaction, your first thought when she made her announcement?
My first thought was I thought it was good. And as me and Freddie was talking about earlier, you stay around too long, and then you start talking about your legacy. Well, your legacy could have been a lot better if you would have retired when you were really supposed to, and I'm talking.
So you saying she stayed too long I guess is what you said?
I'm not going to, I think she's on the cusp of staying too long.
Okay.
When you start getting beat by people you don't expect to get beaten by, you got to open your eyes. And the one thing I notice about all of these people that stay too long, none of them are mediocre players. You know what I'm saying? So these are guys that are highly competitive. Not to say that the other people aren't, but these guys play harder to be a success.
They work extremely hard, yeah.
Freddie,
your thoughts. Serena has announced her retirement. What was your first reaction when you read the news today?
my first reaction actually was to the conversation we was having last week about, athletes staying too late. I personally don't think she stayed too late. I think it was really, I think it was her evolution as a person and as a woman.
That's a great word. She used that word in her announcement. Yeah.
And I haven't even read her statement, but I think it was just her evolution. She's got married. She had a child. And I think that possibly the thing with her, maybe, I think she still mentally has it. And I think she still physically can do it. I think just the amount of preparation that goes into her getting back to being dominant with everything that she may have had going on in her personal life, she may not have been able to, but I think if she was able to dedicate to training and things like that, I think she could still be dominant. I think she still physically can do it, but I just don't think that and also with business ventures that she may have going on as well. Good luck to her and whatever she does. I mean, I don't think her staying this late, this long, has hurt her legacy. I don't think it has.
I don't either, and I'll talk about her legacy in a minute. But
I don't think so either. But I just think that you're starting to see her fail. Okay, she's not going to be ever dominant again. I don't care how much she practices, because you got dominant young players coming up. Okay,
but that might have a lot to do with why she's making the announcement, right?
Yeah, they're going to step aside for her to be dominant.
So
the last tournament she was in?
Which one? You talking about the one that she just won this week?
Yeah,
so
this one she won, but the one before that, she looked bad. She lost in straight sets.
But you also have to look at it. The younger players, and I don't know who she played or whatever, but you also have to look at it from a standpoint. Yeah, they all have to practice and train and whatever, but are the circumstances and situations around them personally the same? Right? She's 40 or whatever, 38, 39, whatever, 40, and she's playing against somebody 25 that's not married, that has no children. Guess what?
22.
Right. They can afford to commit and dedicate that time. It's not the same circumstances and situations as, player to player. So, not to mention their hunger level too. And with her, she may not have that hunger as much as that other person does. And
I think she does. And it goes back to something that you said, Freddie, even though you haven't read the stories that came out, she said, and I'm quoting, "My whole life up until now has been tennis." And it had up until this point. And she's scared because she's moving on to something else. But she also said, because her and her husband, they want to have another child. And I'm quoting again, "I definitely don't want to be pregnant again as an athlete. I need to be 2 feet into tennis or 2 feet out." And I admire that statement from her. I don't think it has anything to do with young kids coming. The young kids are going to come. But if for me, I thought she should have left a year ago. I'll put it that way. Now you had the COVID year, which everybody sat out with, but if you look at her record, she hasn't won a major since 2017, right? If you go back to what happened right up to COVID, I think she was doing okay. In 2019, she made it to the finals of the US Open and lost. She made it to the finals of Wimbledon and lost. In 2018, she made it to the finals of the Open and Wimbledon as well, lost to Kerber and Osaka respectively. So I think as long as you can be competitive, I'm okay with you staying. And competitive to me means you went through the entire round of those majors, and you made it to the finals. I don't care if you get skunked. You beat everybody. But today, as we're recording, she's currently ranked number 407. Right. So the numbers, the numbers don't lie. One of the things, other fact I'll put out there too, is that you look at that stretch run she had, JR, and I want to say it was in the mid-teens, right? She won Aussie Open, the last one. Again, she won 7 Australian Opens, 3 French Opens, 7 Wimbledons, and 6 US Opens. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of all of that, right, she wins the US Open in 2014. There's only 4 majors, right? Started the next year. She wins the Australian Open in 15. She wins the French in 15. She wins Wimbledon in 15. That, what to me was the dominance. And then I felt like after she had the child and after the COVID year, one, she looked a little heavier to me. I don't think she ever got back into the shape she was in. And to your point, JR, the young talent had come up. So if you look at prior to now, right, last year, right, she withdrew from the U.S. Open because she had a hamstring injury, right? She missed the Australian Open, and she had to take an early out of Wimbledon. So all of those majors now in the later part of her life, you got injuries and stuff to deal with. So I don't like to see any champion go out, just getting stomped on. I don't think her, to Freddie's point though, I don't think her legacy, one, I can't even define it today, but I don't think it's tarnished at all. I think what she's done for athletes all around, let alone women athletes, is phenomenal. I was chatting with a buddy of mine today, and I'm gonna quote him. I told him I would. Derek Thompson said he thinks she's the greatest tennis player of all time, not the greatest woman tennis player, the greatest tennis player of all time. And then most recently, I got a quote here from John McEnroe. She's one of the all-time greatest athletes in the history of any sport, male or female. You can't say that about a hell of a lot of people. Mm-hmm. She dominated her sport, dominated it. I mean, do you guys see any challenges with her in terms of being ranked as one of the best athletes ever?
No, I don't. But I hate to see her start losing. To me, it doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it doesn't. If you can't dedicate what you was dedicating it to be the best, you got to move.
I think that's what she's saying, though.
Yeah,
but it's hard to do that when you have done that over half your life.
That's my point I made earlier. These guys that are superstar athletes that have this in their mind, I can go on forever.
But
not that way.
And I do think, having, the little one in that COVID year, that's kind of like, that's 2 years off of your career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this particular shot was 6 years ago that I shot of her in Miami. I was fortunate enough to be able to photograph her both live in matches and in practice. And as good a photographer as I am, if you can see that ball carefully, I was unable to stop that ball enough that you could read Wilson. That's how powerful She was. I think people take it for granted because, you know, you see it on television. But if you look at her biceps and her forearms, again, this is 6 years ago, and she was crushing, you know, that 14, 15, 2016 time frame was like no other. I'm just, you know, glad that we were able to see her grow, right? Yeah. We were able to see her develop, her and her sister, but I think sometimes our generation, JR, we get a little numb to it. We've had some amazing athletes, you know, running from Dr. J to her. But as a tennis fan, as a tennis player, you know, I just couldn't be happier for all the accomplishments that and the barriers that she broke down. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's, you know, when they first played at Indian Wells, when her and her sister first played at Indian Wells, they got booed.
Yeah.
They got booed. And and they go into Indian Wells now, they get a standing ovation.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody wanted to see two little black girls succeed at this level. But now when I look at people like Coco Gauff and other young black tennis players, I think that they are a great debt to both of the Williams sisters for enduring what they had to endure. And she talked about that in the article. She talked about the sacrifice. The only thing I can relate this to is I saw an article years ago with Michael Jackson, and it sounded very similar. Michael Jackson was the best at what he did because he sacrificed not being a child. He talked about seeing other kids play and not being able to go to the playground. Serena talks about that in the article. Like, we could see kids playing, but you got to make a decision, you know, and she said that, you know, you got to put in hard work. And she said she was willing to put in the hard work that her parents laid out in front of her because she thought I could get there, but you can't do both. You can't say, well, I don't feel like practicing today and go down to the playground and hang out with your friends. And she sacrificed that, and her sister did too. And I think that the residual of that is going to last well beyond our lifetimes.
And to your point, Tiger Woods did the same thing.
I think anybody, JR, who has to be successful at that level, you have to give something up. And isn't that what she's saying right now? Yeah. She's married. She has a child. She likes being a mother. To Freddie's point, she's got some banging businesses out there making money with it. She's spreading herself too thin. But growing up, tennis was her entire life, like she said in the article. And, you know, I do believe that she, you know, I would concur with Derek, at least for me anyway. If I had to just list the greatest tennis player, you know, for me, it would be her, you know, period, male or female. And as athletes go, there's stories of women coming on the court and being defeated already mentally. The way that when Mike Tyson used to come in the ring, you would see him and they would look at her and just be defeated mentally already. That's some powerful shit. When you have that kind of presence, talent, ability, skill. So, you know, again, I would have thought, last year, because to JR's point, I saw it. Majors would come around and she wouldn't complete them because she was hurt. Or if she lost, she would lose in straight sets. I don't want to see her going out like that. I don't think she'll go far in the U.S. Open. But a lot of people are going to come to see her play as well. They should. And, you know, I just wish her the best going forward. And, you know, super thankful that we witnessed greatness on a lot of levels, but definitely with Serena and her sister. So, yeah, hats off to her. Last thing I'm going to do since JR started, and I'm going to finish it up. I'm going to throw some names out. Yes or no, these people waited too long to retire. All right? Emmitt Smith.
Yes.
Yes.
Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
Yes.
Deion Sanders.
I think yes.
No.
Freddie says no. Fair enough. Shaq.
Yes.
Yes.
Patrick Ewing.
Yes. Hell yes.
Jerry Rice.
Yes.
Nah.
Brett Favre.
Yes.
Nah.
Interesting. Michael Jordan.
No. I'm gonna say no.
I think no, only because if he was with the right team, he would have been all right.
I'm gonna say
you ain't
no.
Gotta qualify it. Just both of y'all say no. I ain't looking for no justification. I'm gonna put down no on the record for both of y'all. Last one. Karl Malone.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
JR says yes as well. Question of the week. Do you think that Serena Williams was the greatest tennis player of our generation? Yes or no? You don't have to justify it. Catch us on Twitter at 15 Good Minutes or right here on YouTube.com/15 Good Minutes.
our generation? Because my generation and your generation are two totally different generations.
I don't think they are. I don't know how young you think you are, man.
I'm thinking back to female and male tennis players since I've been watching. So let's say since 1970. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Serena played in 33 Grand Slams and she won 23 of those. She's not going to catch Margaret Court, who won 24. Margaret Court was 24-5 back in her day. Serena was 23-10. Rafa will probably get that. I mean, you know, but again, think about this for a second. We're talking about finally men and women on an equal plane just on the sport that they play. And to Derek's point, not the greatest female tennis player, which I do think she is. I'm saying to JR's point, since we've been around, since I've been watching tennis and knowing what I've been watching, I would stop what I was doing every time she was playing when she was competitive. If you haven't had a chance to see the article, I believe it's in Vogue, right? Some really good pictures depicting Serena coming all the way up. And one of the things she said in the article, to JR's point, is she hopes that she's shown that you can play and be a good athlete and wear what you want to wear. She broke barriers in that regard, especially in the 90s. Nobody dressed like that. And I like the fact that she wore that proudly. She wore it proudly.
Good doing it.
So. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We got a yes, sir out of JR. So that's all we got time for this week, folks. We look forward to catching up with you guys next week. And when you get a chance, weigh in on our question of the week. That's it. We'll see you. We're out.
All right. Have a good week, everybody.